Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're going to be diving into something I think a lot of people are talking about these days. It's all the buzz in the sales world, and that is soft skills. Specifically, you know how they're not just surviving, but actually thriving in this age of high-tech sales.
Right.
And we're really lucky today to have the human advantage as our guide for this deep dive.
Okay.
And this audiobook is making a pretty bold claim. And I'm curious to get your take on it. It says that soft skills are like the secret weapon for salespeople who want to really stand out and win in today's crazy market.
You know, it's funny because we always hear about all this technology replacing people's jobs and all that.
Yeah.
When it comes to sales, tech is actually creating a much bigger need for that human connection.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
When you think about it, buyers nowadays have so much more information than ever before right at their fingertips. I mean, they can research all the products, compare prices, get pretty far down that whole decision-making process without ever even talking to a single salesperson.
It's true. I do that all the time myself.
Yeah.
So how does a salesperson today actually cut through all that noise and become that invaluable part of the process?
That's where the whole idea of soft skills comes in.
Okay.
The main argument in the human advantage is that these soft skills are what make you the indispensable human element,
Okay.
especially in this increasingly digital sales world we're in.
Yeah.
It's not just about knowing your product inside and out anymore. It's about building real trust with people, really understanding their needs, and truly becoming a problem solver for your clients.
So I guess what you're saying is it's less about just pushing products and more about being a real partner to the buyer. Someone who can guide them through all the complexities of their decision.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they tell this great story in the audiobook about a dentist who's clearly super stressed out and trying to decide between two different salespeople.
Okay.
One of them just jumps right into this generic pitch, completely missing the fact that the dentist is totally stressed out. But the other salesperson, they kind of pick up on the dentist's mood, they empathize with them, and they actually offer to come back later when things are a little calmer.
I think we can all guess who ended up winning that deal.
Right.
It just goes to show how important it is to be attuned to someone's emotional state. It can be just as powerful as any sales tactic out there.
Absolutely. And that's just one small example of how soft skills like empathy and emotional intelligence can really make or break a sale.
Yeah, for sure.
What's interesting is that the human advantage really gets into how hard skill, like your product knowledge and your technical expertise, actually work together with those all-important soft skills.
And I think they use a couple of examples in the book, Imani and Chen, to really drive that point home, right?
Yes. So they have Imani, who's amazing at building relationships and creating that human connection.
Right.
But sometimes she struggles a little bit with the technical details.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then there's Chen, who's a total product whiz, but he has a harder time connecting with people on that personal level.
So they each kind of have one piece of the puzzle, but not the complete picture.
Exactly. And that's the big takeaway here. To really be successful in sales today, you absolutely need both.
Right.
So think about your own strengths for a minute. Are you more like Imani, naturally good with people? Or are you more like Chen with a knack for the technical side?
I like that. It's really making me think about where my own strengths are and also where I could improve a bit. So I'm getting the sense that this audiobook doesn't just define soft skills, but it actually helps you figure out which ones you need to focus on to be more successful.
Oh, absolutely. The human advantage actually goes through 8 of what they call essential new age soft skills.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That are super crucial in this tech-driven world. And it does more than just list them out. It actually breaks down why each one matters in a high-tech sales context.
Okay, I am ready. Let's dive right into these skills.
Okay, sounds good.
So the first one they mention is multi-level communication. What does that even mean in a sales world that's way beyond just phone calls and emails?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's basically about being able to engage with clients on their terms and through tons of different channels.
Okay.
So think in-person meetings, video calls, social media, even things like chatbots.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And it's not just about being comfortable on all these platforms. It's about tailoring your communication style to each specific one.
Right, so you can't just copy-paste the same message across LinkedIn, an email, and a phone call. Each one needs a slightly different approach.
Exactly. Being a multi-level communicator really makes a difference there. Imagine if a client is getting different information from your website and then from a sales rep on a call.
Oh, yeah.
That just destroys trust.
Makes sense.
So consistency across all your channels is key.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. All right, what's the next soft skill on this list?
The next one is self-awareness,
Okay,
which might seem super basic at first glance,
right.
but it's actually really nuanced, especially in sales.
Okay, I can see how knowing yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, even your communication style is important in any job, really.
Mhm.
But how does that play out specifically in a sales role?
Well, think about it. As a salesperson, you're always interacting with all kinds of different people.
Right.
Each person has their own personality, their own way of communicating, and even their own emotional state at that moment.
Yeah.
Self-awareness helps you to read the room, to sense how that client is feeling, and then adjust how you approach them accordingly.
Okay, so if I'm usually like super high energy and excited, but my client seems kind of tired or reserved that day,
Hmm.
I might need to dial back the enthusiasm a little bit to match their vibe.
Exactly. It's really about being adaptable and empathetic in order to create a more comfortable and productive interaction for both of you.
That's a great point. It's so valuable, especially when you're trying to build rapport and trust.
Yeah?
Okay, I'm ready for the next one. Complex problem solving.
Yeah.
It sounds a bit intimidating, if I'm being honest.
Oh, right. But it can be
Right.
really rewarding, too. Because in sales, you're constantly dealing with different stakeholders, competing priorities, and even unexpected roadblocks.
Oh, for sure.
You're not just selling a product, you're often helping clients solve these complex problems.
It's more than just closing the deal. It's about making sure the solution actually solves the client's problem in a way that benefits everybody involved.
Exactly. It's about thinking strategically and combining that with the human touch.
That's a good way to put it.
You have to see the bigger picture,
Yeah.
anticipate any challenges that might pop up, and really guide everyone toward a win-win solution.
All right, next up is digital expertise. That one seems like a no-brainer in today's world. You've got to be comfortable with all the latest tech, right?
You absolutely do, but the human advantage emphasizes something really important. It's not just about using the newest tech out there. It's about meeting your customers where they prefer to be met digitally.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying. So don't force a client onto a Zoom call if they much prefer email just because you're more comfortable with video. It's about respecting their preferences and their time.
Exactly. You might be in love with using some fancy project management tool,
Mm-hmm.
but if your client prefers something way simpler, forcing them to use your platform is not going to build trust.
That's true.
You have to adapt and show them you respect how they like to work.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So far, we've got multi-level communication, self-awareness, complex problem solving, and digital expertise.
Right.
What other new age soft skills are in this audiobook?
The next one is analytical thinking, which is all about using data to your advantage.
Okay.
Think about all the information you have access to, market trends, customer insights, even just your own performance metrics from the past.
So it's about being data-driven,
Yeah.
but still holding on to that human element. You're not just crunching numbers. You're using data to actually understand your clients better.
That's exactly it. It helps you identify opportunities, make smarter decisions, and ultimately give your clients more value.
All right, the next one is active listening, which seems like it applies to pretty much every aspect of life, not just sales.
You're absolutely right. It's all about constantly seeking knowledge, asking good questions, and being open to feedback.
Okay.
The human advantage actually suggests having regular team discussions, role-playing different sales scenarios, and even analyzing your past wins and losses.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, to figure out what worked and what didn't work.
So it's all about being a lifelong learner, constantly seeking ways to get better and improve your approach.
Precisely. And not just learning from your own experiences, but from your colleagues and the industry as a whole.
It's really important to have a team culture where people feel like they can share their experiences,
You got it.
both the good and the bad.
100%. That kind of open communication and continuous learning is key for any team that wants to stay ahead of the curve.
We've got two more skills to cover: critical decision-making and ideation. Let's tackle critical decision-making first. This one feels super relevant in those high-pressure sales moments.
Oh, for sure. In a fast-paced sales environment, you always have to think on your feet, quickly assess the situation, and make a confident decision,
Right.
even when you don't have all the information.
It's about having that mental agility, trusting your gut, and just going with the best course of action in the moment, even when things are stressful.
Exactly. And preparation plays a huge role in that as well. If you've already thought through potential objections beforehand and have your responses ready, it can really make a difference.
All right, last but not least, we have ideation. This one seems a bit more creative than the others. How does it fit into this high-tech sales world?
Ideation is all about brainstorming, thinking outside the box, and coming up with really innovative solutions for your clients.
Okay.
This could mean finding creative ways to connect with new clients, tailoring your pitch to their specific needs,
Yep.
or even developing completely new ways to solve their problems.
Even when things are going well, it's important to keep coming up with new ideas and always be looking for ways to improve your sales process.
100%. That continuous improvement is key in any industry.
We've covered so much ground already.
I know, right?
We talked about how the whole sales landscape is shifting, how important it is to combine those hard and soft skills. We even went through a whole list of these essential new age soft skills that are crucial today.
And it's pretty clear that these skills aren't just a nice to have anymore.
Yeah.
They're really a must-have if you want to excel in sales.
Absolutely. But the big question is, how do we actually integrate all of this into our everyday sales process?
Right.
That's what we'll be tackling in the next part of our deep dive.
That's right. Stay tuned for part 2, where we're going to turn all this knowledge into actionable strategies you can start using right away.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Welcome back. In part 1, we really dug into the whole idea of why soft skills are becoming so important in this high-tech sales world we live in.
Yeah, it was a great overview. And we got into those 8 essential new age soft skills from the human advantage, the ones that can really make a difference in how you connect with clients and close those deals.
Absolutely. And now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of how to actually put those skills into practice.
Okay, love it.
The audiobook actually has some great practical steps you can take to integrate those soft skills into your everyday sales process.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's do it. Where do we even begin?
Well, the first step might seem really obvious, but it's to actually define your sales process.
So map out every step of your typical sales journey, from that initial contact all the way to closing the deal.
Exactly. Break it down into stages that you can manage. So, for example, you might have prospecting, that initial contact, then qualifying leads, presenting your solution, handling objections, negotiating terms, and then finally closing the deal.
Okay, that's a good framework to start with. What's next?
The next step is where it gets interesting. You really have to think critically about which soft skills are going to be most valuable at each of those stages. And that's where the self-awareness that we talked about before really comes in handy.
Right. So, for example, I might realize that I tend to rush through the initial contact phase because I'm so eager to jump into my pitch. But after listening to this audiobook, I'm starting to see that slowing down and actually listening to the client's needs is a much better way to build that trust and rapport.
That's a perfect example. When you consciously think about which skills are most relevant at each stage, you can weave them into your approach so much more naturally.
Okay, so we've defined our process and identified the spots where those soft skills can really shine. Now what?
The audiobook is really big on having a growth mindset.
Okay.
It's all about being open to experimenting, constantly learning, and tweaking your approach based on your interactions.
I love that. So it's not about finding the perfect formula and sticking to it no matter what. It's about being flexible and adapting as you learn more about your clients.
You got it. Every single interaction is a chance to learn something new. The book actually encourages you to think of your sales process as this living, breathing thing that's always changing.
I like that. So how can we actually implement this growth mindset, practically speaking? The audiobook had some tips, right?
Yes. One really great technique is practice and role-playing.
Oh, you mean like rehearsing my pitch with a colleague and getting their feedback?
That's it. But the key here is to actually incorporate those soft skills we've been talking about.
Gotcha. So, for example, instead of just listing off product features, I might focus on showing empathy, really listening, and asking good questions to figure out the client's real needs.
Exactly. And then you can get feedback from your role-playing partner on how you came across, how well you conveyed those skills, and what you could do better next time.
That's such a cool exercise. It's like a safe space to try things out and improve before you're actually in front of a client.
Yeah, and the feedback you get from your colleagues can be super insightful. They'll probably notice things you wouldn't catch yourself, like subtle body language cues or changes in your tone of voice that could make a big difference.
It's so important to have a team culture where everyone feels comfortable giving and receiving that kind of feedback.
It really is. Open communication and continuous learning are just essential for any team that wants to be successful these days.
Okay, so role-playing and getting feedback are key. The audiobook also mentions something called debriefing, right? What exactly is that?
Debriefing is all about taking the time to really analyze your sales interactions, both the wins and the losses, so you can learn from them and refine your approach for next time.
It's like a post-game analysis, but for salespeople.
You got it.
Yeah.
You got to ask yourself those tough questions. What went well? Which soft skills were working for me? And more importantly, what could I have done better? Were there moments where I missed the chance to really connect with the client?
Yeah, I can see how valuable that would be.
Yeah.
When you do that kind of self-reflection on a regular basis, you start to understand your own strengths and weaknesses so much better.
Right. It's like shining a light on your performance so you can use those insights to improve your sales process, how you communicate, even your whole mindset.
It's not just about following some rigid set of steps. It's about always trying to improve and learn from every interaction.
You nailed it. Integrating soft skills isn't about checking things off a list.
Yeah.
It's about having a whole new attitude, a way of approaching your clients that puts empathy, authenticity, and that genuine connection first.
It's about shifting from selling to serving.
Yes.
Instead of seeing clients as just transactions, we see them as people with real needs that we can help with.
I love that. When you genuinely care about your clients and you want to help them succeed, it really shows.
And that kind of care can't be faked. It has to be real.
100%. And that's actually what sets those really amazing salespeople apart. It's what makes them stand out and build those long-term relationships that are key to success.
Okay, so we've covered how to integrate these soft skills. But why should salespeople even bother with all this? What are the real benefits? What's the so what?
That's a great question. And the human advantage makes a really strong argument for how soft skills give you a competitive edge.
Yeah.
In a world where products and services are becoming more and more similar, it's that human element that makes you different.
Yeah, I'm listening.
The biggest benefit is definitely deeper customer engagement. When you can connect with clients on a personal level, build trust, and truly understand their needs, they're much more likely to be open to what you have to say.
It's about creating a connection that makes the client want to work with you.
Exactly. And those strong relationships lead to more loyal customers, repeat business, and even referrals. It's not about chasing those one-time deals. It's about building a sales pipeline you can rely on.
Right.
Another big plus is being able to create real value for your clients. When you're a good listener and you're good at problem solving, you can tailor your solutions to their specific needs and help them reach their goals in a way that feels authentic and personal.
So it's about moving away from that one-size-fits-all approach and becoming a trusted advisor who gets their business.
You got it. And when you consistently deliver that kind of value, it makes you stand out from everyone else. It makes you memorable, and clients will want to keep coming back for more.
This is making me think about how soft skills could be a secret weapon for analyzing your competition.
How so?
If you're good at reading people and you understand what motivates them, you can get a better sense of what your competitors are doing well and where they might be dropping the ball.
Oh, that's a great point. You can use that information to improve your own approach, play up your strengths, and really position yourself strategically in the market.
It's not about copying the competition. It's about finding your own way to connect with clients that makes you different.
And when you consistently use those soft skills, you build a reputation as someone who is reliable, trustworthy, and helpful.
Right.
And in a world where buyers have so many choices, that kind of reputation is everything.
It's what makes them choose you, even if your product or service isn't that much different.
It's the human connection that seals the deal.
This has been so helpful. We've talked about why soft skills are important, and we've even made a plan for how to use them in our daily work.
And we've seen how those skills can lead to real benefits like more engagement with customers, stronger relationships, a competitive edge, and ultimately a sales career that you actually enjoy.
Before we wrap up this deep dive, though, there's one more thing we need to talk about. How do we actually practice and improve these skills so they become second nature?
Stay tuned for part 3, where we'll get into some awesome strategies for honing those all-important soft skills and taking your sales game to a whole new level.
All right. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive on mastering these soft skills in this high-tech sales world.
Yeah, we've covered a ton of ground already.
We have. From understanding why these skills are so important to actually making a plan to use them every day.
Right. And we've also talked about how improving these skills can really give you an edge over the competition.
Absolutely.
Leading to better relationships with your customers, more loyalty, and a sales career you can be proud of.
It's been really eye-opening.
But like with any skill, it doesn't stop at just knowing the ideas. You got to actually practice, get better, and keep improving.
So true. It's one thing to read about active listening or empathy, but it's a whole other thing to actually do it when you're talking to clients.
Exactly. That's where the human advantage is so helpful. It doesn't just tell you about these soft skills, it actually gives you ways to practice and perfect them.
I love that. Give me all the tips. I'm ready to level up my soft skills game.
One of the most powerful things you can do is self-reflection, and it's super simple.
So just taking some time to think about how we interact with people, what we're good at, and what we could improve on.
That's it. The audiobook recommends keeping a journal where you write down your wins and challenges for the day, and make a note of which soft skills helped you in each situation.
That's a great idea. It's like a training log, but for your soft skills.
Exactly. By reflecting on your experiences regularly, you'll start to see patterns. You'll figure out what you're already awesome at and which skills need a little more work.
This reminds me of something we talked about before, debriefing after each interaction.
Yes, self-reflection and debriefing work really well together.
Yeah.
Debriefing is more about looking at a specific interaction, what went well, what could have been better.
Right.
While self-reflection is about the bigger picture, seeing trends over time.
Okay, so I might debrief after a sales call to really break down what happened in that specific conversation, and then use my journal to think about my overall communication style or how I build rapport with clients in general.
Exactly. Combining those two gives you amazing insights into what you're good at and what you need to work on, and then you can make a plan to get better.
This is starting to feel a lot less overwhelming. Instead of trying to improve everything at once, we can focus on one thing at a time.
That's a great point. The audiobook actually suggests picking just one soft skill that you want to develop, maybe active listening or empathy, and make a conscious effort to practice it every day.
So if I'm working on active listening, I could make it a goal to really pay attention when my clients are talking during calls,
Yeah.
asking clarifying questions and not interrupting or jumping in with my pitch.
Perfect example. When you focus on just one skill, you'll see more progress and get better results.
It's all about setting realistic goals and focusing our energy.
Right. And don't forget about real-world case studies.
You mean actually using our sales experiences to learn?
Exactly. Pick a recent deal, win or lose, and think about which soft skills played a part in the outcome.
Okay, so if I won the deal, I'd ask myself, which soft skills helped me build a good relationship with this client?
Right.
And if I lost the deal, I'd think about whether I missed any chances to really connect with the client or address their concerns better.
You got it. When you analyze your real experiences, you'll have those aha moments, those insights you can use next time.
This is making me realize that mastering soft skills is a journey, not a destination.
It is. You're always learning and getting better.
And the more you practice, the more natural those skills will become when you're talking to clients.
The book actually talks about how even the best salespeople are always honing their skills.
Like professional athletes who never stop training.
Exactly. There's always room for improvement no matter how good you are.
I'm definitely inspired to take my soft skills to the next level. This has been an awesome deep dive. Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
I'd say think about your most successful sales wins. Which soft skills helped you get there, and which ones could you work on to be even more successful?
That's a great question. It makes you really think about what works and where you can grow.
And remember, mastering soft skills isn't about becoming someone else. It's about being your best self and using your strengths to build real connections with your clients.
It's about bringing that human touch to everything you do, even in a world that's so focused on technology.
That's the human advantage.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into mastering soft skills. We'll see you next time for another exciting exploration of the world around us.